Se viene.
G'day Exiles and welcome to ExileCon 2023.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hey.
15 segundos. Mira el man cómo está ahí. Pero el tipo parece Ben Askren. Mira el otro también. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Hey guys, how's it going? Perry in here. And welcome to ExileCon!
Qué grande el Kripparrian, man.
Thank you all so much for joining us here in New Zealand. It's quite a journey. Thank you guys for joining us online. It's going to be a fantastic show.
Okay.
So you guys want to learn about what's coming up in Path of Exile? Yeah. Oh, you do?
Oh, you do?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
No,
Well,
that's
before
hard
we
mucho.
get to the people that are best to deliver that information, before we get into Path of Exile's wonderful future, let's
Antes de ir
take a
al futuro de
moment
Path of
to
Exile.
go over all the wonderful things we have already experienced in Path of
Tomemos
Exile.
un segundo, un
Let's
momento, para
take a moment
todas las cosas que hemos experimentado
to check out Path of Exile from the past.
para chequear a Path of Exile desde el pasado.
Life is fleeting.
Man.
Worthy opponent.
Mira, ¿de dónde vino Path of Exile? Por favor, mírenlo. Muchos aquí no lo saben. Muchos aquí no estuvieron en la beta. Cuando salió Path of Exile, por favor, mírenlo.
To your queen, mortal.
Bro, ese UI viejo.
Bend your ear for a moment.
Los maestros, man.
Are you so in love with death?
Oh, dude, Malakai. Malakai mató a todo el mundo cuando lo sacaron. Bro, el laberinto fue lo máximo cuando salió.
Gaze into the abyss.
Atlas of Worlds, Prophecy. Bro, Legacy League en 2017. 2017. The Fall of Aureath.
In damnation have you done?
La campaña gorda. La guerra del Atlas. El Elder y el Shaper, man.
Ready, exile?
Bestiary. Ok, no debemos recordar a Bestiary.
Let's make history.
Incursion no la viví, desgraciadamente. Delph tampoco. No las pude vivir, desgraciadamente. Pero Betrayal de aquí para adelante vi todo.
Do you remember dying here?
Síntesis, man. Legion, una de las mejores ligas, man. Legion.
It's branching exile.
Blight, a mí me encantó. Los Conquerors del Atlas. Metamorph, Delirium, una de las mejores ligas jamás.
To the grove exile.
Harvest.
The harvest awaits.
Harvest está aquí, gente. Aquí.
This one should
Case,
be
okay,
rather
fuck you.
legitimate.
No, ese no.
Does the toy
Ecos del Atlas, creo que las mejores expansiones jamás.
Your path
Ultimatum.
to greatness has
It's
taken
coming
a
back,
hard
baby.
turn
It's coming back.
toward a cliff.
It's coming back, for sure.
Nation's incoming!
Expedition. Bueno, esa... I don't know, más o menos.
There's no dying.
Scourge.
I've become too weak to sustain the
Uf,
blood crucible.
cómo gocé Scourge.
Defiance ends here.
Siege of the Atlas, baby. Sentinel. Esa es probablemente la mejor liga jamás. Oye, Calandro, man.
cannot escape
Sanctum.
God's gaze.
One of many.
Y Crucible. Más recompensas, la mecánica not so much. Este fue el primer trailer que sacaron de Path of Exile 2. Quiero que vean la diferencia de este tráiler y de los últimos que sacaron, Bro, esta parte se ve brutal. Mira la iluminación. Bro, esto comparado con el primer tráiler, bro, son como dos juegos distintos. Esta parte, men, mira, cómo rompe. Bro, chills, man, chills. Wait.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Let's go!
Welcome to ExileCon 2023. It feels like just yesterday that I was here on stage at ExileCon 2019 announcing Path of Exile 2.
Siente como que fue ayer que anuncié
Since
Path of
then,
Exile
we
2
have
en el
worked
ExileCon pasado.
tirelessly on the content we're going to show you this weekend. To everyone here in person, thank you so much for coming out to join us. It honestly feels so good to know that people love Path of Exile so much that they fly across the world to come and celebrate it with us
Y muchísimas gracias a las personas que viajaron a través del mundo para celebrarlo con nosotros
acá.
acá.
Most of your time in New Zealand. Our last ExileCon was a magical experience, and we've tried to go above and beyond in every way this time. If you're tuning
El
in
ExileCon
online to
pasado
watch
fue
the
una
live
experiencia
stream,
mágica y
thanks for
queremos
joining us
ir
also.
mucho
I
más
wish you
lejos
could all
esta
be with
vez.
us here, but to ensure you have the full ExileCon experience, we have made sure to include every talk and session as part of the 2-day live stream this weekend. Twitch drops are enabled for the live stream, but if
Twitch
you're here in
drops?
the audience, you'll automatically get them when you redeem the microtransaction code in your swag bag, so no need to stream it from your phones while you're watching. You'll also receive the attendee-only ExileCon
Está hablando
2023
de cosas que vas a recibir para los que
We have
están
so
ahí,
much to share with you this weekend, and let's just get
que ya
right
tienen
into
los
Path of
drops, ya
Exile
tienen
2.
algunas cosas, los que ya
I'd
están ahí.
like to introduce Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts, game directors of Path of Exile 2.
Quiero introducir a Jonathan Rogers y a Mark Roberts, que son los directores de Path of Exile 2. Jonathan Rogers es el man detrás de Path of Exile.
Hey guys.
El que echa el código.
Well, Chris has been running Path of Exile 1. Mark and I and over 100 other developers have been hard at work on PoE 2. And honestly, the project has become much bigger than we expected when we announced it in 2019.
Chris
It's been almost 4 years
está
since
en
then.
Path of Exile
So
1,
it's about
nosotros vamos a
time
estar en
we
Path of
showed
Exile
you
2.
what we've been working on.
Y queremos mostrarte en lo que hemos estado trabajando.
Oh, hang on. Okay. Sorry, I forgot. Okay. When we announced Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon 2019, we told you guys that we were releasing it as an expansion to PoE 1 and that both campaigns would be playable on the same game client with a shared end game. But PoE 2's scope has continued to grow and grow, and it's far more than just an expansion with a new campaign. It has entirely new monsters, skills, mechanics, classes.
El alcance de Path of Exile 2 ha estado creciendo y creciendo y es mucho más que solamente una campaña. Tiene un montón de cosas, motor gráfico, monstruos, expansiones, etc. No es solamente una expansión.
We realized that our plan to replace PoE 1 with PoE 2 would essentially be getting rid of a game that people love for no real reason. So we made a decision. Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate with their own mechanics, balance, endgames, and leagues. But it's still a shared platform. Your microtransactions are available across both games. Everything you have ever purchased or will ever purchase in the future will be usable in both games unless it's hyper-specific
Dice que
to the
Path of
content of
Exile
one of them.
1 y 2
You can't transform into a bear in PoE 1,
van a ser
so
completamente
reskinning your bear
distintos,
form isn't going to work.
pero
you absolutely can equip the awesome armor set that you got
Ojo.
and use all your stash tabs.
Uy.
So with that in mind, we'd love to show you
Todas
a
las
live
microtransacciones,
demo
todo lo que
of
has
some of the stuff
comprado
we've been working
está en
on.
ambas plataformas.
PoE 2 has come a long way. Mark here is going to man the PC. Hopefully he doesn't die. It is a live gameplay demo after all.
Un demo. Dice que van a mantener ambos juegos con sus balances y todo lo que tiene que ver, pero las microtransacciones, todo lo que compres, se mantienen ambos. O sea, puedes jugar uno o puedes jugar el otro. Vamos a ver.
The gods caused all this, you know. After Oriath was destroyed, I traveled, searching for answers. Everywhere I went, the same divine devastation. It must end. I will end it. And no exile will stop me.
¿Eso es una cinematic in-game? Porque parece una cinematic in-game. Marauder, Warrior, Huntress, Sorceress, Mercenary, Monk, Druida. Wow. What the fuck is that? Jesus. Bro, ese boss. Forgot. El Lord de la especie, dice. La bestia ciega. The Scourge of the Skies. Wow. $100 ambientes distintos, 600 monstruos, 100 bosses, 1500 passive skills, 36 ascendancy clases, 240 active skills, 700 tipos de cosas que se pueden equipar, 6 co-op y mucho más.
This world will be reborn, no matter the cost.
What? Holy shit. Ok, está bien. Ya estoy a bordo. Fine, 2 juegos. Where is
All
it?
right, Mark. Your turn now.
Cinemáticas in games. No skills.
Welcome to Path of Exile 2. We'd
Este
like
es
to
Path of
start off
Exile
by
2.
showing you some of the gameplay of Act 3, one of the 6 acts in PoE 2's campaign.
Quiero mostrar el
We're
mundo del
starting
gameplay
here
de
in the
Acto
jungle
3.
depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vaal civilization, which fell
Acto 3
thousands of years ago.
está en las
Jungle
runas
has
de la,
taken over their former
de la
once great cities,
civilización Vaal.
and we'll be exploring it using one of the 6 new character classes called the Monk. In PoE 1, we had 1 character class for each of the combinations of strength, dexterity, and intelligence.
Vamos a usar
When
el
looking at the
monje.
design of PoE 2,
Monje.
though, we realized that many of the new skills that we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for Strength Int, but it just doesn't really sound like something a Templar would do. We realized that since we had new mechanics for every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design a new character class to explore the new themes. In PoE 2, every attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. Strength Int has the Templar or the Druid.
Okay.
On Dexterity, you have the Ranger or
Cada
the more spear-focused
combinación-
Huntress. And on Dex Int, you have the Shadow and the Monk, which Mark is playing here.
Cada tipo de atributo tiene 2 clases que tienen referencia a eso. Por ejemplo, dijo que no tiene sentido que te conviertas en un hombre lobo si eres un Templar.
But of course, this is PoE. You can still mix and match anything to your heart's content.
Pero dice que igual eso sigue siendo Path of Exile y tú puedes cambiar todo como sea que quieras.
Looks like we've come across the boss for this area. In PoE 2, every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty. That's over 100 bosses to fight as you make your way through the campaign.
En cada zona de la campaña hay al menos un boss. Y sí, vi oro, vi lo de oro, que me llamó la atención, ¿eh? Dice, cada zona de la campaña va a tener un boss de al menos esta dificultad. Se ve largo, soy yo. No, eres tú. Se ve increíblemente fluido.
But the Monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
La transmutation y el oro lo agarra automáticamente, ¿eh?
So, as Mark has been playing, you might have noticed these blue markers over enemies. Mark has a skill equipped called Killing Palm. Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over it, it means that the monster has low enough life to cull with Killing Palm. Successfully executing the cull will give you a power charge. This is an important skill for the monk, since many
Dice
of
que la
his
marca
skills
azul
interact
es que un
with
monstruo está
power charges.
muy cerca
One of the
de,
great
o
things
está
about
listo
the
para que
skill is that
apliques
there's a built-in dash forward,
otro
which
skill
makes
que
it
le
much
hace cooling
easier to target
strike
the skill
y agarra
right at the
una,
point where you need it.
una
We've
power
done a
charge.
huge amount of work in PoE 2 to make using skills like this feel satisfying. If you're accidentally targeting slightly off the monster, the skill will automatically lock onto the cullable target, and it will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles. We really want to make sure that when you've got an opportunity to use the skill, nothing is going to get in your way.
Dice que tienen como un smart target para que en caso de que no hayas apuntado exactamente, él va a buscar al monstruo que tenga para hacerle cooling strike. Dice que ha puesto mucho trabajo en que se sienta muy bien usar esos skills.
One thing to notice here is that, like almost every melee skill in PoE 2, Falling Thunder has a little bit of extra movement built in, just in case you need it. Use the skill within range and you just do the flip in place. But use it at a larger range and your character will move
Dice que
forward
los
while
skills de
executing
movimiento
it,
todos tienen como un
any
poquito
time
de
penalty.
movimiento en caso que la necesites.
In PoE 2,
Si lo
you
usas
also
en el
get a
mismo
short
sitio,
period to
ves
redirect
que
your
castea ahí
target.
mismo.
Notice how you
Pero
can
si estás un
start the
poquito
skill
lejos, él
facing
se mueve
one
un
way,
poco.
then whip the mouse sideways to land the skill in a different direction.
Ve que
Now,
puedes
in order
usar
to
el
get
mouse
power
para
charges, you're
apuntar
gonna
hacia
first
dónde va
need
el
to get
skill. O sea
some
que
low life
si
monsters into
le das
a
así
cullable
como lo
range.
haces hacia adelante, si lo mueves hacia
Got
un
a few
lado,
options if you
mueve
want
el,
if you want to charge right in.
mueve el slash para
Whirling
otra parte.
Assault is great. It doesn't do much damage per hit, but it covers a lot of ground. And notice how you can turn as you do it? Generally speaking, you never lose control of your character in PoE 2. If you make a turn at the right time, you can get a couple of extra hits on the monsters, getting them in range of your cull.
El skill no tiene como movimiento predefinido, es según donde tú te muevas.
Finish off the rest of the pack with your Falling Thunder. We've now entered the Vaal Mechanarium. This is the place where the Vaal built the various constructs that they relied on to power their civilization.
Pregúntale a Alba.
This is a find. A Vaal ruin that hasn't been looted?
What?
I wonder why nobody's been in here before.
One useful feature we've added is the ability to call in NPCs to where you are to give you more information or help you with quest objectives, rather than always having to go back to town. In this case,
Tú puedes
we've called
llamar a
in
algunos
Alpha to find out what
NPCs
to
para
do.
que te den información acerca del sitio donde estás o para ayudarte con los quests
If
en caso
powered
que
with a
necesites para que no tengas que
small
volver a
soul
la
core,
ciudad.
it could open that door. There should definitely be soul cores somewhere around here. They had to power these constructs somehow.
As Alva just said, we need to find a small soul core to open this door. Let's explore.
Get back!
If you want to shave off some life without getting too close to some of the more dangerous monsters, a great option is Wind Blast. Wind Blast also doesn't do too much damage, but it keeps enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back. So it's a great option for keeping
Mientras
smaller
más
but
cerca
higher damage
estén,
enemies
más
at bay.
lejos los empuja.
Note that the bigger the enemy is, the less they'll be pushed back. So trying to push back some giants isn't going to be as effective.
Si tratas de empujar algo muy grande, no lo va a empujar mucho.
And there's the soul core. Let's get back to the door.
Ok, agarró el core que estaba buscando. Bro, se ve demasiado fluido. Se ve demasiado fluido, man.
Consider me impressed.
Igual, tengan en cuenta algo. Esto es acto 3.
Now, if you need to defeat tougher
El
enemies,
oro-
it might be time to break out some of
ojo.
the ice skills in the monk's arsenal.
Ojo con el oro. Vamos a ver
creates
qué
wave of ice
dicen
that
al
moves slowly
respecto,
in front of the player. It's pretty ineffective against fast-moving monsters because most of the
Ojo.
damage occurs right at the end of the wave, and so a lot of monsters will just walk right by it. But if you can find a way to make a monster stop at just the right place, it can be very effective. In order to do that, you're probably going to want to freeze some monsters. The monk has a few different tools to do this. A fairly simple option is to get right in the monster's face with Ice Strike. Ice Strike doesn't do too much damage at the first 2 hits, but attack 3 times in sequence and you can get off a combo that has a much higher chance to freeze.
Ok,
Get in there with the freeze,
Dice que
then roll back and finish the
Ice
job with
Strike
Glacial Cascade.
puede
Now, remember how Glacial Cascade
congelar
has extra damage and
casi
spike at the
asegurado.
end? If you hit a frozen
en el
enemy
tercer
with
hit,
that spike,
que es un
it
combo.
shatters the ice on the enemy and does a devastating amount of damage.
Y dice que si
This is
rompes
a
a
really
alguien
great
con
combo against
el
bosses,
Glacial
as you'll
Cascade,
see
lo
later.
rompe y hace un montón de
Oh yeah, and
daño.
I've just been casually mentioning rolling around. Did I forget to mention that in PoE 2 we added a dodge roll to every character? Just press spacebar at any time to roll.
Todos los personajes tienen un rol ahora.
There's no cooldown,
No hay
and
cooldown.
limitations.
No hay cooldown y no hay limitaciones.
And it even has pathfinding in it, so you don't get stuck on anything. When you when you dodge roll, you're not invulnerable. If something hits you, you're going to feel it, but most things aren't going to hit you. And that's because while you're rolling, projectiles and melee strikes will always miss. You'll have to roll out of the way of a slam that has AoE, but
dice
anyone
que
swinging a sword
los
or throwing a fireball is going to miss.
proyectiles van a fallar si roleas en el momento correcto.
It lets you cancel out of any skill at any time. This makes
Y
it so you
puedes
don't feel like
cancelar
you're getting stuck during a
cualquier
long
skill en
animation
cualquier
when something's
momento.
about to hit you. It really changes how skills with longer attack and cast times play, and makes dodge roll a very reliable feeling way to avoid attacks. So that's one way to get out of the way of damage, but the monk specializes in mobility, so it would make sense that he would have some more. Wave of Frost is one of our new attacks with a retreat built right in. You move backwards and throw out a cold attack with a significant freeze. A great thing about this is that it puts you at a good distance to follow up with a Glacial Cascade and do a whole pile of damage.
Están hablando como las combinaciones de los distintos skills. Esto vamos a tener que verlo después con mucho más cuidado porque son muchos skills que están nombrando, pues. ¡Oh no! ¡El anuncio! Twitch. Alright. Ese combo de cómo los explota se ve genial, man.
Another skill you can use to get some extra freeze is Shattering
Eso
Palm.
en endgame seguramente va a ser muy
Shattering Palm is
rápido.
a palm strike that puts a small ice bomb on the target. Kill or deal enough damage to the target and the bomb will explode, doing some damage and a significant freeze. It's a great option against bosses where the wave of ice might not be enough to get that freeze off. But you still really want to use Glacial Cascade to get the damage bonus. The final skill we're going to show you today is Flicker Strike. It's a monk skill and another skill that consumes power charges. If you've played PoE 1 before, you know what to expect.
Si ha jugado para Hexal 1, ya sabes lo que esperar.
Boss fights, if you were able to get some power charges beforehand.
Ese flicker se vio muy, pero muy clean. Porque la cámara no está totalmente fija en ti. Ojo. Sí, o sea... Eso es un boss, ¿no?
Here we have Blackjaw, former overseer of the Mechanarium. When the Vaal fell, he was turned to stone and now guards the area. In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the tools in the monk's arsenal, especially the combo of Freeze and Glacial Cascade. Now, if you're a PoE 1 player, you might think you can't rely on Freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it. But in PoE 2, that's changing significantly. In PoE 1, Freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target, or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in PoE 1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses because freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you could only really rely on while pack clearing, and not something you could use as a core part of your build for boss fighting.
En Path of Exile 1 estaban forzados a ponerle como freeze immunity por cómo funciona. En cambio, ahora dice que todos los bosses pueden ser congelados si tienen suficientes.
When you freeze an enemy, it increases the amount of freeze you need to do to get another freeze, but the increased difficulty bleeds away slowly. More freeze will always let you freeze the boss more often, but this system means that you will not get out of control in party play or interact badly with other CC mechanics, allowing us to let these kinds of mechanics actually work against all bosses.
Boy, Souls. Oh shit. Bueno, si muere, envió... La maga ya lo hubiese matado, tú y yo lo sabemos, ¿eh? ¡Oh! ¡Oh!
What?
You have died. Mira el violín.
All right. Let's take two.
Toma dos,
So,
dijo.
this might be a good time to mention that in PoE 2, if you die to the boss, you have to start again from the start. There's no boss cheesing.
No puedes, si te mueres en
hang on,
Paradox Hexal 2,
There might be a,
tienes que empezar de
okay?
nuevo.
Oh, 1 second. One technical issue.
Dice,
Just
si
typing
mueres tienes que
some
empezar de nuevo.
cheats to,
Que no puedes chisear a un boss.
all right, we good? Back to the stream. All right. All right.
Round 2.
Let's go.
Cuidado.
Whoever balanced that, like, come on.
Hay que balancear eso, dice. Bro, el stun en el boss suena y se ve muy bien. No, en la vida, no, le está haciendo el mismo daño, parece. Pero Robert está muy concentrado, men. Bro, este paso a la keynote creo que va a durar un poquito más de lo que estamos esperando, ¿eh? ¡Ojo! Tiene bastantes ataques. Tiene ese Super Slam. Tiene los 3 Slams. Tiene la boca de fuego. Tiene el aro de fuego. Tiene esa hacha así llena de fuego. Tiene ahorita la que tira un montón de fuego hacia adelante, que fue la que lo mató. Tiene bastantes habilidades. Y están muy bien telegrafiadas. ¡Ey! Ese stun no funcionó bien, ¿eh? ¡Ey! ¡Ey! ¡Ojo! ¡Ups! ¡Ey! ¡Ey! ¡Ey!
Okay. Do the. Oh, nice.
Ahí está eso. Ok, nada más imagínate el monje cuando con un solo hit congele y después lo explotas. Ahora sí los esquivó bien. Claro, como es un proyectil lo puedes esquivar con el dodge.
Give me a freeze. Come on. Oh, here we go.
Ese es nuevo. Hizo dos explosiones y después encadenó el tercero, la ataque de 3 explosiones.
Freeze.
¡Uy, no!
Shit.
¡Oh, no!
Come on. No. Get it. It's so good. There you go.
After this.
No.
It's a cooling strike!
All right.
Yes.
There we go.
Bueno, se le sale el corazón por la boca.
So, Black Draw has dropped a consumable quest item here called the Flame Core. It's a permanent plus 10 to spirit. In PoE 2, we really want to make sure that you feel rewarded for exploration. It wouldn't be much good if we made all these awesome optional bosses if we didn't have something great to find for killing them.
Este es un jefe opcional, pero no sería bueno
permanent stat bonuses for your character.
Si fuese algo, si no diera algo bueno. Dice que eso te da un stat permanente para tu personaje, pero que es opcional.
All right, now because this random area is different, Mark will have to find his way to the exit the hard way.
This is because I died. This is no longer rehearsed at all.
Debido a que murió, el área es distinta. Tiene que buscar su salida ahora de vuelta. ¿Tendría filtro? Debe haber filtro 100%.
Face your demise.
La voz del lagarto. La campaña será bien lenta. Bueno, será así hasta que aprendamos cómo es y GG, man. Uy, mira ese montón de curses. Voy a dar la vuelta por acá, dijo.
Need to use those killing palms more often, Mark.
Un Nemesis, Monka. Uy, 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 uy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Ese monje, I don't know, man. I don't know about that, man.
Lightning strike.
Ese monje como que es como más genio, digo yo,
I think you got completely lost there.
I have no idea where I am.
No tengo idea de dónde estoy.
All right. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we are. Here we are. Here's the exit.
I'm going to die to these sentinels somehow.
¿Está?
All right. Let's go right through. All right. All right. In order to help
Es un poquito cuestionable, ¿eh? Sonaba muy lindo cuando decía todas las combinaciones y esto, pero en práctica, I don't know, man. ¿Y Octavian?
One second.
Octavian está trabajando con
Here we go. All right.
The
Sorceress
con
is the new
GG oficialmente.
intelligence-focused character in PoE 2. While the Witch focuses more on occult magic and summoning, the Sorceress is themed around pure elemental destruction. Let's have a look at how she plays.
Lleva la
This is the
Sorcerer.
largest soul core I've ever seen. With this, we could power the canal systems. But it isn't charged. There is still latent energy in this machinarium from its ancient operation. These lines in the stonework should lead to generators. You might need to find some more soul cores to spin them up, but everything looks to be in surprisingly decent condition.
Ese tiene todos los pasivos puestos,
Maybe
sí.
the golems have been maintaining it. In any case, it should still function.
Y recuerden que seguramente, o sea, se ve muy bien, pero yo creo que se va a ver mucho mejor porque la, ¿cómo se llama? El encoding de Twitch y todo eso. Siempre le hace lo mismo a todos los juegos.
We've added a Pierce support gem to really allow it to hit an entire room full of targets. For a more single target focused skill, Arc is a
Ese es
great
el
choice.
Spark.
It does much more damage than the first target that you hit. Now, if you find yourself surrounded, it might be a good idea to use Ice Nova. It hits all enemies around you and slows them down with a chill. Just be careful. Getting up close and personal isn't the ideal place for a sorceress to be. She doesn't have the defenses of a more melee-oriented character. In order to help with that, though, you could use Arctic Armor. In PoE 2, Arctic Armor is a buff that builds up as you stand still. You can see the ice crystals forming around the character. They drop off if you walk.
Ok, Arctic Armor aquí es, si te quedas quieto se van formando...
So it's a great defense. Just be careful. You have to be standing still for a little while to get the full effect. So trying to stutter step using it isn't the best strategy.
O sea, eso es como para alguien usar algo channeling seguramente.
Armor is an ongoing buff, but did you notice it didn't reserve any mana? How does that work?
No reserva nada de
We're
mana.
pretty sick of the fact that in PoE 1, basically every character was playing with no mana pool. So we decided to change the way that reservation works. In PoE 2, there's a new resource called Spirit. Spirit is a dedicated resource that you can use for ongoing effects like Arctic Armor, Heralds, Auras, and Minions.
Ahora tienes Espíritu, que es un nuevo recurso con el que vas a reservar cosas. Porque antes todo el mundo empezaba a jugar con 0 de mana. Dice que tú empiezas con 100, pero si quieres más, puedes conseguir más en tus skills, en tus ítems, con modificadores, etc. Ese es un gran cambio.
It's a great opportunity to use some cold skills before it explodes. And speaking of cold skills, a great skill to use on monsters with lower cold resistance is Comet. This is a new skill in PoE 2 and it hits pretty damn hard. It costs a lot of mana and has a really long cast time, but it's worth the wait. It does a devastating amount of damage. To help you out of danger, your character moves back slightly as it casts. It's pretty hard to
Dice que ese skill hace muchísimo daño, pero tiene un largo tiempo de casteo. Ok, necesitamos ponerle faster casting y speleco a eso. Urgente.
I guess in an emergency you could use your free to cast Fireball. So where did that come from, you ask? Well, this is a great opportunity to explain the way that we've changed caster weapons in PoE 2.
Cambiaron las armas de casteo.
Had a default melee attack that nobody used. And because they had that, they also had a bunch of attack mods that would spawn on them that were useless to a caster. In PoE 2, we wanted to clean that up. So each staff now comes with a built-in free-to-cast spell.
Todos los staff ahora vienen con una habilidad gratis.
Just put it on and spam away to your heart's content. Now, this particular staff is the base type that you'll get right on the starting beach. So it's quite likely that you'll have outgrown it by now. So that's why we've also made a lot of staves with more utility-focused powers for casters to use. Here we have a crystal staff. It has a pretty cool built-in spell called Unleash. Using it slams your staff on the ground and will allow you to triple cast whatever you cast with your next spell. Now, of course, what you're probably going to want to use with that is something powerful, and Comet is a great option.
Oh shit!
You'll notice that Unleash is one of the few skills in PoE 2 with a cooldown. In general, we really try to avoid using cooldowns because we really hate the feeling that combat is just waiting to cast your next spell. But it does make sense for Unleash. This is free to cast, and it's something we want you to use situationally anyway.
Dice que en Path of Exile estamos evitando de que haya cooldowns en absolutos porque no queremos que el juego se sienta como que estás esperando a tener tu próximo skill para poder jugar. Pero en este caso hay ciertos skills que tienen cooldown, pero que es algo que son situacionales. Tiene total sentido. Tiene una triple nova y las tiran instante, man. Rip Billy again. Pero ya me voy a decir. Oh my god, dude. Mira lo bien que se ve el mago. Mientras tanto el melee. Ah, bueno, sí, cuando das un hit te puedes mover un poquito para atrás. Ah, coño, gracias. Y el mago que tiene. Ah, bueno, tiene triple skill. Eso es todo. Hace 3 veces el skill que te rompe la madre, bueno.
Follow up with Unleash and then triple cast Comet to do a truly insane amount of damage.
Igualito al monje, men. Igualito al monje. El monje no tiene que. Das 2 hits, no hace una mierda. El tercer hit generalmente congela. La nova, pum, congeló todo. Ya está.
These ghosts.
Yeah. This
Whose
rare
fault is
monster,
that?
Oh my
this
god.
rare monster has
Pero
dropped
mejor
an
que el
uncut
monje
gem,
sea como que
and
no
that's
hay.
a great opportunity
Ende-
to talk about how skill gems drop in PoE
Ojo.
2. Instead of dropping
Gemas.
specific gems, you can find uncut gems. Just right-click on them and pick whatever skill you want.
Te va a caer una gema y puedes piquear
No,
cualquier.
whoops,
Oh, las gemas caen sin identificar y simplemente puedes elegir cualquiera.
Pre-leveled to the level of the area that dropped it.
Y
So it's a
cae
lot
el
easier to
nivel
change
en el área que la
between skills in
conseguiste.
PoE 2. This time, I think it might be cool to grab one of our meta gems. Meta gems are skills that can have other skills socketed into them, changing how they work. In this case, we're going to select Cast on Shock.
Cast on Shock.
Now, let's equip this thing on the skill screen and choose which spell to trigger with it. I think Comet might be fun.
¿Qué va a poner
Now,
Comet?
because Cast on Shock reserves Spirit, we'll need to first disable our Arctic Armor. We have to decide if we'd rather have the extra defense or the extra offense of the Cast on Shock using our Spark.
Ok.
In PoE 2, trigger gems use a system of filling up cast time on each trigger. Basically, if a skill has a short cast time, it will trigger really often. And if it has a long cast time, like this Comet here, it will take a lot longer to trigger. You can see on the top left corner that there's a counter that shows you how long until the next trigger.
Ahí se ve. Esto está acá. Te dice cuánto falta para que se castee de nuevo.
Hopefully he shots the monsters.
Pero tienes que choquear. Si tiene un cast time bajo, lo hace a cada rato.
And there you have
Si
it. That's using
tiene un
Cast on
cast time
Shock.
alto,
We'll automatically cast Comet whenever we're using
tarda
our
más
lightning
en
skills.
castearse. Sí, bueno, es Cock Spark, ya está, ven. Cock Spark, pero sin critical, solamente vas con full shock. Que también el critical hace shock, así que no han cambiado
So,
eso.
we found the generator. Time to power it up.
Conseguimos el generador. Ey, eso se parece como a un... al supporter pack, ¿no?
Power is restored to the Mechanarium. All the constructs are coming back to life. We'll need to fight them on the way back to the charged Soul Core. So, one thing that PoE 1 players might have noticed is this character has both lightning spells and cold spells. That's
Este
pretty
personaje
inefficient, right? It's a
tiene
big
lightning
no-no
y
for
cold.
most builds because any specialization into cold or lightning isn't going to affect the other element. And generic elemental damage increases are not going to be as powerful as focusing on a single element. Well, in PoE 2 we have another major new system to introduce to solve these kinds of
Para
problems.
2 Hexalos tenemos otro
And it
sistema.
starts, oddly enough, with weapon swap. Now, in PoE 1, weapon swap isn't really used much for its originally intended purpose.
sea, podemos aquí
We
usar
imagine that
weapon
people are
swap.
going to be swapping in and out between different weapons to deal with whatever situation they were in. People just don't do that at all. And a large reason for that is because it's really, really awkward. In PoE 2, we wanted to
Ahorita
solve
las
all of
agradezco a
that.
todos.
The staff Octavian is using here has an ice mod on it that makes it great for when he's using his ice spells. But we would also like to be able to make sure that this build works just as well for his lightning spells. If Octavian equips his previous staff in his second weapon set, you can see that it appears on the character's back. Now, we're going to open up the
lo tiene en
skill
la
screen.
espalda, ¿vieron?
If Octavian opens the skill options for his lightning skills, you can see here that you can choose which weapon sets are usable with each skill. First,
Se
we
cambian
uncheck set 1 from
solas.
being used by his lightning skills. Then we go
Se
through the
cambian
cold skills and
solas.
turn those off
Tú
with his
puedes
lightning
elegir
weapon.
con qué arma vas a castear qué skill.
Just take a second.
If I can remember where they all are.
Que yo iba a decir, me vas a hacer
When we use
cambiar las
Spark,
armas,
the
tú me estás
character will
jodiendo.
automatically switch to the lightning
Se
stuff on his
cambian
back
solas.
and then use the skill. And when Octavian uses his
Mira
ice
cómo se
nova, his
cambia el
character
staff.
automatically switches to his ice staff before using it.
No.
No, boludo. Y esas son dos armas mágicas. Ni siquiera son raras. Ni siquiera son raras,
You
ojo.
can configure each skill for which set to use, or both if you don't mind which. There's a very short time penalty to switching, so it can be good to leave some skills on both sets if it doesn't matter which weapon set you're using.
Dice que hay una
But we still
pequeña
have a
penalidad
problem.
por cambiar.
Passives.
Pequeña
Wouldn't
penalidad
it
de
be nice if we
tiempo,
could
así que
specialize
puedes
in both
ponerlo
cold
con
and lightning
ambos
passives on the
si no te
character?
importa con cuál se castea.
Well, in PoE 2 you can. Hopefully Mark can deal with those monsters while we do this demo. So, we're on the passive skill screen here, and you can see that we are close to both a cold and a lightning cluster. At the top right of the
Okay.
screen, you can see that we have some weapon set specific points to allocate. If
Weapon
Octavian
set
holds
points.
shift, he can allocate set 1 to the cold passives, and then allocate set 2 to the lightning passives.
Tú puedes tener un árbol personalizado para el skill que vayas a lanzar.
Check it out.
O sea, tú puedes
As we
poner
use our
como que
weapon swap,
yo quiero que estos puntos los
The
tenga aquí.
skills allocate changes from one build to the other automatically.
No,
So whenever we cast the appropriate spell, the
Y es
character's passives
automático.
reconfigure on the fly to the correct build for that spell. Now, you can't do this with every single passive on your tree. Only
¡Y es
point scrums and skill
automático!
books will allow this kind of dual
Tú
specialization.
lo configuras como se
You're
te
not gonna be
canten los
changing from a
huevos.
Mace Slamming Warrior into a Fire Elementalist with the press of a button. But it certainly increases the number of options you have for builds. There's a huge number of places where the system can shine.
Bro.
You can augment your Dagger Shadow build with traps, or have a great curse set up on your Witch with one spec, and then move to your Chaos debuff spells with the other, for example. It really opens up your options.
Jesus.
Now, another fun
Bro, me explotó la
meta-gem
mente.
tryout is called Barrier Invocation.
Dos builds en un build, básicamente, sí.
This works a little bit like the trigger gems I talked about before, but this one charges up as your energy shield is hit by monsters.
Ajá.
We're going to put an Ice Nova in this one.
Eso se carga cuando te peguen.
The more
Tú,
energy shield you lose, the
pierdas
more
Energy
charge
Shield,
builds up.
se activa algo. ¿Qué se activa?
Just get that one equipped there. Yep.
Okay, a ver.
So yeah, the more energy shield you lose, the more charge will build up until the point you're able to cast
La
the
carga en la
socketed skill
esquina.
instantly. There we go. So you lose some, so you lose some energy shield, and at just the right time,
Este es un
invoke
Cast When I'm
Ice Nova to
Mistaken,
cast
pero con
all the
Energy
stacked up
Shield,
copies in
básicamente.
one instant cast. If you keep losing shield, you'll build up even more charge for even more casts. So it's a great defensive option in an emergency.
O sea, este puede ser un Cast When Damage Taken, pero con Energy Shield para, no sé, activar algo. Holy. Ok, mira, no voy a mentir. Me estaban perdiendo un poquito cuando dijeron de que van a hacer dos juegos y tal y esto, pero eso de que las armas se cambian solas y todo.
All we have to do now is take it.
Wey, man. Holy fuck, man. Un Warloop. No. Blasfemia.
Alva, what the...
Algo se fue, man.
Don't die this time, guys.
No, bueno que esta vez. Xyokotl, el guardián del núcleo. Guardian of the core.
Frozen?
Nice.
Bro, Aztec vibes. Bro, qué cool sabe ese boss.
Away from the wall. Oh god. Frozen, no? Good.
Frozen, nice.
¿Por qué nada más se le mueve la vida al boss cuando Octavian está atacando?
Helps that we're both doing ice damage. Cold damage.
Oh my god, that's my Billy voice. My poor monk. Murió antes de nacer.
He's heavy
Stun.
Mierda.
Frozen?
Tiene fases. No estaba seguro, pero creo que tiene fases los bosses ahora.
Frozen again?
Getting real lucky with those freeze procs this time.
All
Uy.
skill.
Frozen.
El monje tiene que tauntear, men. Eso lo tiene que hacer el monje. No tauntea y deja que el mago haga el daño, men. Oh my god. Necesito ver otro melee, por favor. No me digas que todos los melees son como el monje, por favor. No me digas eso. Mierda. Triple.
Get away from him. Get away. Get away. Triangle.
Se notan bien distintos los bosses, ¿no?
Charlie.
Nice.
Ok, ahí el monje, ¿viste? Eso es lo bueno del monje, lo mató en 15% de vida. Nice. eso es lo
So
que...
that's Path of Exile 2. These areas, as well as around half of each of the first 4 acts, are available to play at the 3 demo zones around ExileCon. Now, if you're physically here at this event and you get to play the demo, just remember, it's a different game from before. It's a lot harder. You're probably going to run the first pack of monsters and just die. I really recommend you read the signs. They have good advice on how to combine your skills effectively. And remember, dodge rolls on spacebar. Use it. You're just going to die otherwise. So your next question is likely to be, when is the beta? Well, we're in our last year of development, and we're still finishing acts, adding skills, and balancing everything. The closed beta is going to start on June 7th, 2024. Path of Exile 2 has been a long time coming, and we're incredibly excited to be near the finish line, but we're just not quite there yet. We're determined not to rush this and make sure we get everything right. In the meantime, there's a lot in store for PoE 1. I'll hand back over to Chris, and he's going to talk about what's coming up. Thank you very much.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, my heart. Dude. Pudieron haber hecho el Exile en diciembre, entonces.
So, that demo is very hard for them to do in person. Like, I am very impressed it went that well. So, as Jonathan explained, Path of Exile 1 will continue to be its own unique game once Path of Exile 2 comes out. We will continue to update it with expansions and leagues going forward. And because accounts and microtransactions are shared between the two games, and their expansion releases are offset from each other, it's super easy to jump between them and effectively play both if you want. So, I'm going off script for a second here and just going to explain this a bit better. Imagine we release a Path of Exile 2 expansion, right? So everyone dives in and plays it. You give it, say, out of the 13-week cycle, you're going to play for, some hardcore players play for the first few weeks, some people play for most of the time. We're going to aim a Path of Exile 1 expansion to come out towards the end of that cycle, say 4 or 5 weeks from the end, which also lasts for 3 months. So because Path of Exile 2 has more content and is a significantly larger game, it will mean that you can play Path of Exile 2 for the majority of the cycle, and then either keep playing if you want to keep playing Path of Exile 2, or jump into Path of Exile 1 when its league launches and enjoy that.
Dice que la idea es que al final del ciclo de Path of Exile 2 va a venir una liga de Path of Exile 1.
Because your purchases are shared, if you were to buy supporter packs or microtransactions in either, they're just available on your characters in the
las,
other.
Compras son compartidas, si compras algo en uno, lo vas a tener en el otro.
In just 3 weeks, on August 18th. Let's watch the trailer for Path of Exile, Trial of the Ancestors.
Se viene la nueva liga. Okay.
Souls such as yours do
en mi corazón, ¿cómo que en junio? Oh my God.
They thirst for battle. They yearn to prove themselves. Welcome to the halls of the dead. Earn your place among us.
Wait, ¿ella es?
Under Hinikora's watchful eye, test your mettle against the greatest warriors who ever lived.
Se parecía a Navali. Está preciosa de arena igual.
Prove yourself in the trial of the ancestors.
Como passive skill tattoos. What? Nuevos ítems, obvio. Nuevas keystone en el Atlas. Se abre de golpe el Expedition. ¡Santo! ¡Yes! Un chieftain nuevo, ¿te tocaba?
In the end, only one can become champion. Will it?
Where is it?
You?
Where is it? No lo veo. Santom is back. Got it.
In the Karui afterlife, the fallen chieftains of each tribe participate in a tournament called the Trial of the Ancestors. You will journey to the afterlife, assemble your own team, and enter the tournament to battle those chieftains and earn valuable rewards. As you play through areas in the Ancestor Challenge League, you'll find tradable silver coins. Using them will take you to the Karui afterlife, where you will encounter Navali, who you may remember from the Prophecy League. Each coin allows you to play a match of the tournament. You start the tournament with a basic team consisting of 3 warriors. The tournament is double elimination, meaning you're allowed to have one loss without consequence. A second loss eliminates you from the tournament. Your team will compete against 10 other tribes, and you choose who you're going to challenge next out of the teams left in the tournament. When you start a match, you see the configuration of the enemy team and get to place your team of warriors on the battlefield
tú
to
organizas a
challenge
tu
theirs.
equipo de guerreros.
You and your party of exiles will play alongside your warriors. So while this league does have many elements of an auto-battler, you're right there fighting alongside them.
Dice, esta liga tiene como elementos
During a
de
match,
un
when a
auto-battle,
warrior
pero tú
dies,
estás ahí
they
para pelear.
respawn at their totem after a short time. If their totem is destroyed, then they are instantly killed and can't respawn. The team that destroys all of the opposing totems wins. If you're playing a hardcore character though, don't worry. Hinokora, the goddess of death, is watching over you and will restore your soul to your body, so you can't permanently die in the afterlife.
Okay. Si mueres aquí y estás en hardcore,
In the trial of the
Hinokora te va a
ancestors,
permitir volver.
strategy and tactics are key. Every unit has its own strengths and weaknesses that must be utilized to
dice que
win
si destruyes los
matches.
totems no pueden revivir
The
las...
turtle is really slow and really tanky. It's
las-
perfect for either
no pueden
defensive
revivir los
positioning
enemigos,
to
pues.
stop flankers or offensive positioning to tank hits for you if you're pushing through the middle. It's not great in the center or flank positions due to its slow movement speed. The Tuatara is a quick and deceptive unit, which is relatively well balanced for all positions. This version of the Tuatara has a stealth ability, which makes it perfect for the flanking position, to sneak through enemy defenses and take out unprotected totems from the side. The
Okay.
Goliath of Night is a disruptor unit, and it's ideally placed in a center position to intercept enemies
Dice
that are
que la primera
chasing you.
tortuga es buena para
You can also
tanquear, la
allocate
otra
it
se
to
pone
defenses
invi
so that
y
it
puede
disrupts
atacar a algo
enemies
que
that are trying
esté
to kill your
desprotegido.
totems by stunning them.
Y esta estunea
So
a los
in
que
this
tratan
match
de
here,
golpear a los
we've set
totems.
up a Tuatara in a flanking position, a turtle on defense to guard our totems, and a Goliath to follow us as we attack up the middle. Our plan is to work with the Goliath to distract the enemy front line so the flanking Tuatara can get through and destroy some of their totems.
Lo que quiere hacer es distraer a la línea al frente de los enemigos para que esa lagartija mate a los totems.
Teamwork. Upon winning a match, you earn favor and
Cuando
other
ganes,
rewards. I'll talk about the other rewards shortly. There are a lot.
ganas favor.
You have a separate amount of favor with each tribe, and you can
Okay.
spend it by talking to their chieftain to recruit warriors and purchase field items and equipment that your
Ok,
team can
puedes
use.
comprar guerreros y comprarle ítems para esos guerreros.
Each tribe has specific specialities. For example, Hinokora's tribe manipulates life and death.
Cada tribu tiene
Bongo-Kurai's
algo en
tribe is
especial.
slow and tanky, with an emphasis on stuns and knockbacks.
Hay unos que están
You can
especializados en
recruit warriors
stun,
from
otros
many
en
different
la vida y la
tribes and
muerte
mix and
y
match
otros
them together into your team
en
based
ser
on what
tanque
you
pero
need.
lentos.
Field
Según lo que
items
busques.
are items that are placed on the battlefield and can be activated during the match to, for example, revive a warrior or heal your entire team.
Algunos
If a
ítems
field
los puedes
item
poner ahí
isn't
para que
consumed
hagan
within a
cosas.
match, it persists on to the next match. But your warriors, their equipment, and your field items are all wiped between tournaments. You enter each tournament fresh.
Cada torneo que
Your
vayas
success in
comienza
the
desde cero,
tournament
pero
updates
te
your
guardas
overall
todo
ranking,
durante el
which
torneo.
helps you in better rewards and subsequent ones. Speaking
como
of
un
rewards,
auto-battler, pero
let's discuss the good part. What you
con
can
más
earn
cosas.
for succeeding at the trial of the ancestors. You can tell this gets me excited. Okay.
Te va a mostrar lo
You
que te
get
puedes
a
ganar.
reward as you win each round of the tournament, and these rewards are visible when you're selecting which tribe you want to play against. They'll help inform your decision, as some of them are regular rewards and some
Ojo.
of them are,
Reemplazas
some of them are
un
exclusive
skill
new
de
rewards you
dexterity
can only get
pasivo
from
por
the trial of the
2% increase
ancestors.
de
I'm
moving
literally
speed.
tripping over my words to get to the part where I can explain tattoos. Okay. The ancestors reward you with special tattoos that are not applied to your skin, but they're engraved on your soul. This process can transform what your attribute skills on the passive tree do, basically the attribute highway nodes generally. The regular ones can only be applied to basic attribute skills.
O sea que
and allow
tenemos
you to
un
convert
passive
your
skill
tree's
tree
attribute highways into something more useful
dinámico.
for you. For example, this one converts a small dexterity skill into movement speed.
Sí, no dice que tenga límite.
Each tribe has its own exclusive passive tattoos. This tattoo converts a small strength skill into additional fire resistance.
Oh.
This one converts a small intelligence skill into
Oh.
additional lightning damage.
Oh.
And this one converts a small strength skill into one that summons a minion when you take a savage hit from a unique enemy. But don't go overboard on the number of skills you convert with tattoos, as you'll probably need at least some of your attributes left
Necesitas
to
algo de
equip
atributos.
items.
A menos
Each of the 10
que
tribes has an exclusive unique item that you
usa
can
algo
earn.
que
These rarely show up as
no
rewards for
necesita
defeating
atributos.
that tribe in a match. Katava's Hunger is a unique majestic plate that you can earn by defeating the Katava tribe. As
Okay.
you can see, it grants an immense amount of life for a single item,
Casi 1000 de
providing you
vida.
don't have any life on any other pieces of your
Si no
equipment.
tienes vida en
While
otro...
this is tricky to accomplish, it also frees up all those other potential life slots
tiene
to be
pinta que
something
llega a
else
1000,
that benefits your build, making it pure upside. This
debe ser
amulet is a
900 a 1000,
unique item
supongo,
you can
¿no?
earn by defeating the Arohongui tribe.
1000 de vida
It has the
plana es un
powerful
montón,
effect
¿eh?
of causing your flasks
Armor
to
de 5
instantly
waves.
recover life and mana whenever
sé.
you're low. This could potentially be a powerful panic button, or maybe you want to build around permanently being on low life or mana, so all of your flask usage is instant.
Instant flash.
If you manage to win the
Eso vamos para
entire
algo para
tournament,
hardcore.
you'll not only receive the reward for the final match, but Hinokora will also give you a choice of 3 additional... button didn't work. Of 3 additional exclusive items. Let's have a look at some of the things you may be offered. First up, there are 4 unique items that exclusively come from Hinokora
4
for
únicos
completing the
que vienen
tournament.
de nada más del
This
torneo
belt,
si
for
los terminas.
example, lists a plethora of really powerful properties, both beneficial and detrimental.
Te dan 5
While you're wearing the
segundos
belt,
de las
the property
propiedades por
shifts
5
around every
segundos.
5 seconds. You never know what's going to happen
Tus
next.
hits siempre
Will you
son
always
criticals.
crit, always evade,
Los
never
hits contra
evade?
ti
Maybe you're
siempre
able
son
to find
críticas.
some ways to build
Los
around the
ataques no
detrimental
te pueden
effects to
golpear.
create as much
Los
upside
ataques
as
siempre
possible.
golpean contra ti. Tu daño siempre es Loki, el daño es un Loki contra ti. Eso sí como cosas negativas, no me
You
gusta.
can only receive from her. This one transforms a 30 intelligence notable attribute skill into one that increases the level of all of your intelligence gems. You're only allowed 1 copy of the specific attribute combination tattoo on a tree.
Más 1 a todas las intelligence skill gems.
Hinokora can
Pero solo
also
puedes tener
award you
una.
with a new type of item called an omen. These are small items that sit in your inventory until a condition is met, at which point they are consumed.
Ellos
and
soltaron
something
las
happens.
alas.
In this case, when you reach 25% life, your flasks are all replenished. Now don't worry, each player can only consume 1 omen per combat area, so you don't have any reason to fill your entire inventory with them. This one creates a portal on death.
Si mueres te crea un
We
portal.
made it for me. It won't try to save your life, but it will save you some time. This one grants you
Gaston
soul
death,
eater
pero
when you
sin
level
gastar
up.
los
It's definitely worth
tokens.
carrying around for that occasional massive power boost. Omens are tradable but hard to get, so use them carefully. I shudder to think about how much this one is going to be worth in the presence of those incredibly rare unique weapons from 320. Now note, going off script again here, back in the day when we had stuff like the prophecy and so on that let you upgrade to rare forcibly on a specific
un
base
chance,
type, we
una
had to
orden
block
de
the
chance
good
de un
items by
ítem.
putting crap uniques on the, sorry, I meant upgrade to unique. We put crap uniques on that base type so that you couldn't get it every
Usa un
time.
chance y se convierte en
Well,
un
we
único.
stopped doing that. So a lot of the uniques that were upgraded in 320 are just the only thing on the base type. So items like this let you deterministically get something quite valuable, hence they are quite rare. The most exciting one though. Finally, Hinokora can offer you a lock of her hair. This is a very special currency item that lets you foresee the result of using another currency item to craft something. This means, for example, you can know whether it's worth exalting your item because you'll know exactly what the outcome is.
Eso te permite ver lo que va a pasar
Hinokora's lock
si le
will
metes un
slot into your
exalte a un
crafting
ítem.
pipeline with powerful consequences. The Trial of the Ancestors offers a wide selection of valuable new rewards as you complete matches and tournaments. We really look forward to seeing what strategies you develop for building, equipping, carefully placing, and playing alongside
Puedes ver
your
el
tribe.
futuro.
So that's the new Challenge League, but Path of Exile expansions contain more than just a new league every 3 months. In each update, we also augment Path of Exile's endgame and shift the metagame with new gems and balance changes. This
Hacemos algo que
expansion is
guarda
no
el ítem.
exception.
No, espérate.
I'm going to explain the other changes in a medium amount of
Te
detail.
mostramos
I'm
el
conscious
futuro
that
de
we
que va a
have both
pasar, así
new
sabes si lo
and
vas a hacer o
existing
no.
players. For new players, I'm going to
Te
try to
vamos a
include some
enseñar
extra
eso.
content to help make the changes more understandable. You can find out all the detail in the patch notes and other information we'll be posting in a few weeks before
Okay,
release.
no thank you.
Let's start with how the Trial of the Ancestors expansion expands Path of Exile's endgame. In December last year, we released an expansion called The Forbidden Sanctum, which
What the
introduced the
fuck?
Sanctum Challenge League. This league was a roguelike game set within Path of Exile where you would randomly explore a randomly generated sanctum one room at a time, alongside your regular play. You'd pick which rooms you wanted to explore out of several options and accumulate beneficial boons and detrimental afflictions that made your run easier and harder, respectively. Not only did Sanctum work really well as a league, but it also had the potential to be added to Path of Exile as part of its core endgame content, alongside systems like mapping, delve, and heist. Well, in this
Hablando de Sanctum y
expansion,
cómo lo van
the
a
Forbidden
poner.
Sanctum is back.
Let's go, Sanctum.
I've really been looking forward to this one. We're reintroducing the Sanctum as core content in Path of Exile's endgame. You'll initially meet Divinia, the Sanctum NPC, in Act 10.
En acto 10 la consigues.
Sanctums are now tradable items that you can find while playing maps in the endgame. A forbidden tome represents a whole floor of the sanctum, and its rooms can be played back to back, or you can take breaks between them and do something else if you choose.
El tomo es
Upon
un
successfully
piso
completing
completo del
that sanctum
sanctum.
floor, the next floor is generated as a tradable item with all of the state of your sanctum run built in. This means that the item stores what boons and afflictions you had, what rewards you've locked in, and how much resolve you have left. You can then either play this floor or trade it to someone else if it feels more beneficial.
Se lo puedes tradear.
For example, let's say you manage to lock in a really valuable reward.
Un mirror de Calandra.
The example here is a mirror of Calandra, but you'll also notice that, do I have a laser pointer? It doesn't work on the board. Okay, one resolve.
Tienes un resolve acá,
This is
¿ves?
an example here where the player has a very good reward locked in,
Tienes
but a
un
massive
resolve,
pile
pero
of
tienes un
dangerous
mirror.
afflictions and only one resolve on them. If you don't feel capable of
Si no te
completing the
sientes
rest
capaz
of
de
the
hacerlo,
sanctum
lo
from this
puedes
point,
intentar
then
vender.
it would normally be a write-off, right? If you gave this to me, no way am I getting that mirror. But you can now trade the sanctum state to someone else who is willing to pay for the chance to earn the mirror or lose it. And you can look at expected value in economics, right? It's worth some percentage of that mirror. So you trade it for like 5 chaos to someone, they run it and lose their chaos. Your relics, which act as passive bonuses within the sanctum, are locked in for the
Reliquias se
run when you
quedan.
start the first floor and can't be changed for the rest of the run. Speaking of relics, they're now tradable and have been rebalanced around this.
Son
To those
tradeables
of
las
you
reliquias.
wondering, we have decided against bringing back sanctified relics for now.
Por
A
ahora no
complete
tenemos
sanctum run now
las
requires
reliquias
killing the
santificadas.
final boss, Lycia, in both her first and second form. She will always drop a unique relic, and these have been reworked and replaced as we rebalanced everything. An important aspect of the new sanctum balance is that your primary defenses now have some effect on protecting your resolve. Your armor allows you to mitigate resolve loss, and your evasion grants you a chance to avoid resolve loss entirely, a lot like how armor and evasion work.
Okay.
Your energy
La
shield
armadura
grants you
hace que tomes
resolve
menos
ages,
daño.
which is a mechanic
La
that
evasión
works
te da chance de
similarly
lo
to how
quite.
energy shield
De
behaves
que
for life.
fallen los ataques de los enemigos.
In light of the new defensive opportunities and learnings from the original Challenge League, we've rebalanced the difficulty of Sanctum, especially in later floors, and have worked to add more monster and room variety to runs.
Ok, dice que añadieron más monstruos, más variedad y más agresividad, porque ahora tus defensas afectan un poco el juego.
Like other optional endgame systems that involve tradable items, players who don't want to play Sanctum can trade their Sanctums to other players in
Como
exchange
otras
for an
cosas en
item or
game,
currency that
si
benefits them more.
alguien no lo quiere jugar, lo puede tradear a alguien que sí
Successful
quiera.
Sanctum play can generate a lot of rewards. It'll potentially be possible to build characters dedicated to Sanctum running and just farm Sanctums repeatedly in order to profit.
Pero probablemente valga la pena hacer un personaje que sea totalmente dedicado al Sanctum.
Improvement the Trial of the Ancestors brings to Path of Exile's endgame. We're also introducing 16 new Atlas Keystone passives to the Atlas passive tree. As a quick summary for new players joining us, the Atlas tree is a system that allows you to customize your endgame experience in Path of Exile. As you complete different maps, you gain skill points that can be allocated in the tree. You could use these points to modify the behavior of different content you encounter in in-game maps to make it more difficult or more rewarding, or to behave entirely differently. The system allows you to double down on the content you enjoy and avoid content you don't.
Okay.
Keystones are really impactful passives that totally change how endgame systems behave. Usually they have an element of give and take and require you to come up with new strategies to take advantage of them. Each of these 16 new Atlas Keystones changes how you might interact with Path of Exile's endgame. Let's have a look at some of them now. We will reveal the rest of them before the release of Trial of the Ancestors in a few weeks. Extreme Archaeology completely changes how you play expedition encounters. Instead of placing a series of regular explosives, you now place one gigantic explosive.
Así que ahora pones un solo explosivo.
Every single chest or monster in the blast radius is affected by every remnant in that radius.
Oh, okay, it's pretty big, man. Hey, ¿así se puede hacer Expedition?
Speaker of the Dead makes it so that tormented spirits can possess you rather than possessing monsters.
Los espíritus pueden poseerte a ti en lugar de los monstruos.
Instead. While possessed, you can touch monsters just like a spirit can, making them stronger and more rewarding. It's kind of getting silly at this point, isn't it?
poseen a ti los monstruos y tú puedes tocar a los monstruos para bufearlos y ganar
The
más cosas.
Cassia's Pride keystone makes it so that Blight monsters take significantly less damage from players and significantly more damage from Blight towers. This basically lets you go all in playing it like an actual tower defense game. Because we can. Lucid Dreams makes it so that Val's side areas in your maps are no longer corrupted, meaning that you can use currency items to change their mods. That's right. When you encounter a Val side area, the keystone lets you craft it.
La keystone te permite craftear.
Yeah, so we rebalanced the side area mods, we've improved reward outcomes, and we've made the downside mods a bit more punishing, just to make it interesting if you try to go for the good outcomes. You may also rarely encounter a unique Val side area.
Hay unas Val
Destructive play makes it so that the Maven will summon between 1 and 3 extra random map bosses when you are fighting witnessed map bosses. This keystone is analogous to the Eldritch Altar keystones that make those influences more difficult but more rewarding. There are another 11 new keystones that we'll reveal over the next few weeks. Together, these 16 keystones mean that regardless of how you enjoy your maps, you'll have plenty of new ways to play Path of Exile's endgame in this expansion. And I should note, in the initial draft of the keynote, I painstakingly went through every single keystone. It took like 10 minutes. But we'll put them in the news to save you some time here. In the Trial of the Ancestors expansion, we're shifting Path of Exile's metagame in several ways. The first is by introducing 14 new support gems, which are designed to take existing categories of skills and provide entirely new ways to play them. For full information, check the final gem hovers when we post them in the next few weeks. Let's have a look at a handful of these support gems now. In Path of Exile, war cries usually buff your party but don't directly hurt monsters. The Corrupting Cry support gem turns war cries into damage-dealing skills by making them inflict corrupted blood on monsters affected by the war cry or by your attacks that it exerts.
Ok, hace que los war cries ahora hagan daño. Esta support gem.
The Returning Projectiles support gem causes projectiles from supported skills to return to you, piercing all targets but dealing a little less damage.
Hay una gema que retorna las cosas. Ok.
I think there's another example too.
Esa era la obvia.
The Fresh Meat support gem causes minions created by supported gems to gain adrenaline, critical strike chance, and critical strike damage for a duration after their first summon.
Who cares?
So you've got to work out a way to keep refreshing your minions, and it makes them a lot more powerful. The Flamewood support gem causes totems to trigger projectile mortars at enemies that hit them. This is particularly synergistic with totems that can taunt enemies, such as Decoy Totem or one of the new Chieftain Ascendancy skills that I might talk about shortly. The Sacrifice support gem works on spells that you either cast yourself or through totems. These spells now sacrifice a percentage of your current life or the totem's life to gain additional chaos damage based on how much life was sacrificed.
Para ganar extra daño caos.
The Frigid Bond support gem affects Link skills and causes a cold mist to come over them. Enemies caught in the beam are chilled and are dealt cold damage over time. This creates a new tool for a cold damage over time build requiring strategic placement of both yourself and your linked ally. I mentioned it was going to get silly. The Locust Mine support gem looks OP and affects attack skills that use bows and wands. Instead of directly using the supported skill, you throw mines in an arc that use that skill for you, targeting your location when you detonate them. In addition to these gems, there are another 7 that we'll be revealing over the next few weeks. In addition to the 14 new support gems, our balance work for the Trial of the Ancestors involved us revamping 2 Ascendancy classes. These are the subclasses that you can specialize in as you play through Path of Exile's campaign. Each main character class has 3 Ascendancy classes available. In the last expansion, Crucible, we overhaul the Pathfinder and Saboteur. This time, it's the Guardian and Chieftain, which are specializations of the Templar and Marauder, respectively. While we were very happy with the theme of the Guardian, it was falling behind the power level and popularity of other Ascendancy classes. Our changes in this expansion have modernized the class and will present you with more relevant build opportunities than before. Brace yourself. Okay. Path of Exile 102. Harmony of Purpose can power up parties using Link skills. Time of Need now completely cleanses and heals you every 4 seconds. Radiant and Unwavering Crusade both fully embrace the Holy Summoner theme by giving you access to some exciting new types of minions that are exclusive to this Ascendancy class.
Las dos de abajo son de minions.
On the announcement page, pathofexile.com/ancestor for you to scrutinize. Next. While the Guardian's revamp was similar to that of the Pathfinder, the Chieftain has received the Saboteur treatment. To be honest, we were unhappy about many aspects of this Ascendancy class in its old form, and so we completely redesigned it. You can play it now. It's basically an entirely new Ascendancy class with the same name and art and a new way of approaching its themes.
Okay, let's see.
Its new skills let you, among other things, cause enemies to explode, turn off enemies' fire resistance while you're stationary, convert passive skills to apply to fire damage, and have your fire resistances apply to your cold and lightning resistances. I'll just give you a sec more to read. All right, that's on the site too for you to check out. It's pretty powerful now.
Okay, hay que obviamente verlo.
To celebrate the release of the Trial of the Ancestors, we'll be hosting a boss kill event. To enter, create a hardcore solo self-found character in the Ancestor League and race to kill all 7 Uber Pinnacle bosses on the same character. Note that unlike the last event we ran, this one is not a ruthless event. We'll post more information about the event and its prizes in the news before release. Best of luck to everyone. For the Ancestor Challenge League, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Shade and Disciple packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available for the duration of the Ancestor League and will leave the store forever when it ends. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect the character's power or progression in any way, despite how cool they look. The Shade series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Saquen la cartera, gente.
All right. The sarcophagus back attachment imprisons an unspeakable evil that struggles to break free. Nearby monsters send it into a frenzy, and enemy deaths provide it with souls to feast upon. The Stygian Waypoint shackles visitors to your hideout in chains, yourself included. These chains are just cosmetic, though, and they break as soon as you move. It would supposedly be a gameplay advantage to be able to imprison people. The ferryman's armor set is so full of trapped souls that some of them try to escape. Moving while wearing the boots will leave souls in your wake trying to break free. The Infernal Portal opens a gate to the Netherrealm when you approach. This prompted a lot of internal discussion about whether using Hellfire to heat your hideout is actually safe and practical. The Demon-bound crafting bench allows you to enslave a malevolent entity to craft items for you. Be warned, it has a sharp tongue and will mock you mercilessly.
Sé que puedo usarlo para...
For such a paltry use.
Y se puede
The Nebula character effect causes
esclavizar a un demonio para que crastee cosas por ti. Cuando looteas cosas están vueltas alrededor tuyo.
The Disciple series of supporter packs also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Look at dog. I'm going to put that in the top pack. The Hero's Landing Finisher effect summons a marble statue from the heavens to execute unique monsters you defeat.
Cuando matas a un enemigo único,
whether it's the sword or the huge lump of rock that actually kills them. The Bell Tower map device heralds the opening of a new map with a peal of bells. Start to run out of portals, though, and it will reflect your desperate situation.
Va cambiando según cuántos portales quedan.
The Cathedral armor set refracts light through your character, creating beautiful patterns on the ground around it. If your life gets low, it responds in kind.
Okay.
The Observer Diamond Flask summons a tentacled mass that fires its eye lasers at enemies you critically strike while the flask is active.
Si haces crítico, esta cosa le tira rayitos.
The Currency Orb charge effect lets you pick from a number of different currency types to replace your charges with, as long as you've used that currency item anytime from today onwards. Some people, we have to store it in the database, right? Some people will show they can be part of the exclusive club of players who have actually used a Mirror of Calandra. This effect also causes your charges to display in town. So the theory is you go use your standard mirror,
de hoy en adelante.
which we all have, right?
Esto necesitamos seguir un mirror usarlo para
The
tener esa
faithful
cosa.
hound pet is
Obvio.
a very good doggo, and it knows a few tricks. You can command it to sit, roll over, or play dead. And yes, you can pet the dog.
Y sí, pues.
These new packs are available right now at
Es un buen doggo.
pathofexcel.com/purchase, and purchases like these directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2. Meanwhile, the Lithomancer and Enchanter packs leave the store forever at the launch of Trial of the Ancestors, so now's your last chance to purchase them. There's some good stuff in those too. Thanks for your continued support.